Hello, and this is the Talking Ship podcast, but this is an Alsip Home and Nursery edition. Alsip Home and Nursery is my family's garden center business. I'm a second generation owner, and we are pleased to welcome Kaylee Keigher onto our team. Kaylee has a horticulture degree from Texas A&M, a background in landscape design, bidding and estimating, as well as nursery crop production. She will be representing both direct orders from our growing facilities and product from our supply center. She will be assisting Tanya and the rest of the team to provide prompt professional service to our wholesale and re-wholesale clients. Kaylee will be reaching out to all of our clients over the next few weeks, setting up introductory meetings, and will be sending out our product availabilities on a weekly basis. Welcome, Kaylee. Well, welcome, Kaylee. Glad you're here, and we're really excited to have someone with your experience as part of the Alsip Home and Nursery team, the Alsip Landscape Supply and Kingsbury Acres Greenhouse, representing all of those brands that we have. Obviously, we see the Talking Ship My Plants logo back here, but today we're introducing Kaylee to the landscape contractors around Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland. And we're going to do a quick little interview here to kind of introduce people to her and who she is and what she will be doing here, and get used to seeing Kaylee. And so welcome.
Thanks, Rich. Glad to be here.
So tell us about, you've got a degree of some sort from Texas A&M. What is that?
So I have a bachelor's of science in horticulture. I graduated from Texas A&M University December of 2018, specialized in landscape design. So majority of my courseworks were in landscape design, how to properly install hardscapes, plant material, bidding and estimating residential and commercial jobs. So that's kind of what my degree encompasses. I also studied, plant identification and proper growing techniques throughout my college coursework.
That's pretty good. So obviously you're well-rounded and you can work with the materials. But I mean, coming from the South in school, how do you like working with plant material in Zone 5 versus something down in Southern Texas?
Yeah, so in college I studied mainly plants from Zone 7 to Zone 10. So being up in Illinois, we're Zone 5A, 5B. There's actually quite a lot more plant material that we can work with up here, which is exciting. I've got to learn a lot more about evergreen plants, different flowering and fruiting trees. So that's been great to kind of expand my plant palette. I'd say the biggest differences are that a lot of our perennials down south are the annuals up here. So that's kind of been the biggest transition. Other than that, a lot of our plant material are the same.
Okay. Yeah, it does make sense that there's actually more to work with here. And obviously you've got several years of experience being up here now. So you have commercial design experience, bidding experience, or just residential?
Both. So I actually started my career in commercial bidding and estimating. I worked in a suburb of Chicago with a company who just did, I look at landscape architect drawings and, make sure plant quantities were correct, price out jobs, and then present our bid to see if we'd win the job for our company to install. So that's where I started my career. And then I switched over to a landscape design position where I did residential landscape design primarily, but I also did some small commercial projects and even a few large commercial projects. Like I did a walking healing garden for a hospice facility, and that's probably my largest to date. Other than that, I've done some, curb appeal for like restaurants, different like car dealerships.
Okay. So very well-rounded, which is great because we have landscape contractor clients that do everything from high-end residential to cookie cutter builder to commercial to INDOT, highway type stuff. So that's excellent. It's really exciting to have all that well-rounded experience. So I know you've got a little bit of Zone 5 crop production experience working at Bailey Nurseries down in Onarga, Illinois. Tell us about your duties while you were at Bailey.
So I did that as an internship while I was still in school. And honestly, it's probably the best way to start out in Zone 5, just because I was dealing with a lot of like hands-on experience there, doing crop management, so fertilization of the crops, proper spacing in the nursery yards, pruning, making sure everything was pruned to shape during the proper season, and then also pulling orders, making sure that the customers were getting the quality plants in the nursery yard. And just because a plant's grown in the same area doesn't mean they're all ready at the same time, as much as you try for them to be. So making sure you cull out the ones that just didn't meet expectations. I also did some plantings of like the bare roots in the pots, and starting those plants and making sure they're properly packaged and getting onto semis for orders to be delivered. It was quite the internship, and it was a great way to start out in this zone. Learned a lot about the plants that were grown and desired, and the ones that were in high demand.
I mean, Bailey Nursery is one of the largest nursery companies in the world. So obviously, and they're a first-class organization from the ownership through upper management on down. Been working with them as a client for 2.5 decades now, and so when I found that out, I was pretty excited. I'm like, that's pretty good experience to have. So did you have anything to do with helping put together plant availabilities, taking photographs of plants or anything like that?
I did. I worked with, I guess, their marketing. I would go out with a camera and take photos of every plant that was available, and just for stock photos for you to look at online, to see how they're growing, what they actually look like for you that week. I think we did it bi-weekly. And then something that I thought was really great is I walk around with a meter stick and take a picture with the plants with that meter stick, so you can actually see just how big that plant is for you to buy. And that was really important for Bailey's, just because you got to see the product.
Yeah, no, I like that as a customer buying the plants, to see the scale. And that's something that you had suggested that we start doing with our crop photos on our availabilities here. And I love that idea. So one of the duties that you're going to be involved in is sending out our availability on a regular basis, not only from our landscape supply center here, from all the hardscapes to the big trees and arborvitaes and so forth, but also the shrubs and perennials that we're producing at our farm, at our wholesale nursery. So that'll be great, a great addition to bring on. So kind of lead me into a segue about weekly communication of any kind. Will that help the landscapers bid their jobs and prepare for their jobs, and how so?
Most definitely, it's going to help with having a weekly availability. Just because some plants, they flourish sooner than you expect. Some plants, they might be a little bit slower, but there's going to be a great substitution that looks spectacular. And that weekly availability is going to communicate that to the contractors who are going to be purchasing.
Yeah, and I think that'll help them put their bids together a little bit faster and more efficiently. And obviously, we have multiple different pricing options available. So, so that's great. So expect to get the availabilities from Kaylee every week with crop photos and a meter stick for scale. So, okay. And, something else that's new for 2024 here at Alsip Nursery Landscape Supply is some direct from the West Coast brokering. So you'll be able to order through Kaylee the green velvet boxwoods that are field dug, the emerald green arborvitaes, and the green giant arborvitaes. We stockpiled I like to say I just bought the entire West Coast out of all their conifers there and stuff that's hard to come by around here. And we've got the space to stock it and keep it watered. And also we have direct to the shop pricing. So if you guys want to stock your shops up with some of these hard to find plants at like grower direct prices, and we're negotiating ways to get them here as inexpensively as possible to bring that price down. As it may be things are getting a little tighter with inflation, and some of the building is slowing down a little bit. So we think it's important for the contractors to find other ways to stretch their margin. And so, look to Kaylee for that. She's got an order form and she can provide you guys with that. There are limited availability, but it's pretty deep. So at some point it will run out, but we do have quite a bit available still. So you've been in the shoes of our landscape contractor clients in your past experience. With that experience, tell us how you understand the needs and wants of landscape contractors.
I was the head designer for 3 years at a previous company, and I did all the purchasing for our jobs, even mine included. And so I've made calls to growers asking for availability. I've looked at availability sheets, and I have my favorite companies who provided availability sheets, and those always included the pictures. I like to know what the plants look like when I buy them, just because my customers, they expect the highest quality, and I want to provide that. So I know just how important it is to communicate what's available, the quantity that's available, the future availabilities when certain crops will be ready, what they look like. And I just want to ensure that our contractors with Alsip get that same expectation that I had, and things that maybe were missing that I couldn't find, I want to provide that to the contractors here.
So that's good. I mean, being on that side of things, understanding their needs and wants, time is money, visualizing what it is.
Want to make it simple for them to make their orders, to place their orders. Whether it's an email, a phone call, or a text message, I want to be available for them, just because you're not always in front of a computer when you need an order to be placed.
So Kaylee's going to be available through those different ways of contacting her as well. So, we definitely are excited. Kaylee's got experience with Unilock and, all the trees and shrubs and perennials that we have to offer. She'll also be able to provide you with annual availability if you need annuals. Seasonal change outs. So later on we'll get into the mums, and then towards Christmas time, the fresh cut, what we call the porch pots. So it's great to have Kaylee on board. One thing that's very important to note is that her role is 100% dedicated to the landscape contractors. This is not a role that is watered down by, hey, I can't get to you right now because I'm helping a Mr. and Mrs. Smith pick out their maple tree for their front yard. It doesn't have any retail attached to it. So she's going to be dedicated to you guys. She's going to be here to service you guys. And it's the first time we've ever had anybody in a 100% focused role like that. She can also provide the service to you all for landscape designs. So if you need help getting some designs done faster, we will provide those services for you through Kaylee. She's got experience with UVision and some other design software, and we're just really pumped that we've got somebody that's going to have that focus, that has that experience, and a nice personality, somebody that's nice and easy to talk to. It goes a long way. So welcome, Kaylee, and we're glad to have you on board, and we'll be having a great spring season 2024 and beyond.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rich.
All right, guys.